Hello, investors and traders, and welcome to the Midweek Market Report. I'm AJ Monty, Chief Technical Analyst with Stickytrades, and today we had a lot of action as Fitch downgraded the U.S. credit rating from a AAA to a AA+. Now, with that said, today's the first full day of the markets reacting to that news, and as we take a look at DIA, you can see that we have an extreme pivot point here on much higher volume. You see my cursor down there highlighting that big volume bar. Now, in addition to that, we have the stochastic down here is pivoting lower. The CCI is pivoting lower after a negative divergence here. And we are about to cross down below that momentum line. I think that we could see a continuation of this downward pressure, but be careful as there is a gap below the market on the VIX. I'll get to that in a moment as we talk about some of the guarantees I can give you on the VIX. Now, my downside target is extreme down here. I'm still holding that at 341.84. So nothing has changed there. The sell pressure is still on. As we look at IWM, again, another pivot point, slightly higher volume, but look down below. Look at that. We have a cross below that momentum line or that zero line. What that means is that we have about 2 to 4 more days on average of downside pressure. As that CCI continues to go lower, we would look for an eventual pivot where we might find a little bit of support. I'm not talking about a new high or a bounce up to a new high, but I think we could see at least a little bit of a short covering coming into the market. So downside target again, IWM is still in place at 187.62. Looking at the Qs as we go into alphabetical order, very interesting here because we have extreme fan lines right here. That fan line is right around the 374 level. So we have to watch out for that fan line breaking, because if it does, you may have been following along with my fan line rules, but if it breaks below that fan line, we have a 90% chance that the price will drop to the next fan line in the sequence, which would bring the Qs all the way down to 350. So keep an eye on that. Looking at SPY, we have a very, very slight breach and a close below that 20-period moving average on higher volume. This is where we start to get the question marks popping up. Will we see a drop in volume tomorrow? Will we see a pivot point bounce off of the CCI? And will we ultimately see a gap fill up here, up top? Well, that downside target's still in place at 442.49. I would keep an eye out for a possible short covering on Friday, maybe even a little bit of a bounce on Monday or Tuesday. But overall, I think the markets are pivoting lower as the race to beat September sell-off begins. We could see some early selling into August here and beating that rush of notoriously bad months of September and October. So stand by for that. Now let's talk a little bit about the VIX here. You can see that we are on our way to possibly hitting my upside target at 1720. This was the longer term forecast that is coming true here. I said we'd go down and then we would go up. We're in the up move, but look down below, folks. There's a guarantee. Can't tell you when that's going to happen, but I can tell you it will happen, because 100% of the time gaps fill on the VIX. Here's my forecast on the VIX. I think we're going to go a little bit higher, possibly hit my target up there at 1720. Then I think we're going to come back down to fill the gap, and then watch out below for the S&P, because I think the VIX will pivot off of that gap fill point. Now, that's a crazy forecast that most analysts would avoid at all costs, but I think we got a little bit of momentum on the VIX to the upside, but that gap is going to act as a price magnet. So option traders, keep that in mind as well. I'm going to make a quick comment on silver. I am completely back into 100% of my position. I did say that this is the zone that everyone has to keep an eye out for, because there is still an open gap below the market right there on SLV, at which point I think once the gap fills, it could start to go higher. Now today from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm doing my rapid fire stock analysis segment. That is a member only event. So if you're interested, you still have time to enroll. Go to stickytrades.com And we have an action-packed hour for you where I will be looking at least 40 to possibly 50 stocks in that hour time slot. And we are already hitting the targets from last week. So it's going to be a lot of adrenaline flow in that hour. I hope you could join us. And if you can't make it tonight, go back into our website and look at what we have to offer. I think you're going to be very happy with a lot of the additions and changes in the format. We try to keep it super simple here at Sticky Trades, and I hope you could join us. So until then, talk to you soon. Bye.